This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Five races into a 12-race schedule, and it's still anybody's guess which driver is going to take home the championship trophy. Although odds are good it might end up somewhere in Spain, as that country has a small army of drivers battling for the title. Kevin Jimenez, Yaves Ross, Antonio Poveda, Fernando Guerrero, and Victor Prado all hail from La Piel de Toro. But fans should not sign up for fandango lessons yet, because the polka might be the dance of choice come season end, as Germany's Thomas Seeger sits atop the raw points despite not owning a podium finish. The first half of the Batteries Not Included 2019 Spring Season Championship wraps up today as the schedule makes a round 6 stop at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And you can see all the simulated Williams FW31 action from green flag to victory donuts live as it happens right here on the Global Sim Racing channel via the iRacing Esports Network. Happy Easter, everyone, and welcome. Up in the booth to bring you our Word's Eye view, Stefan Slocker, joined by yours truly, Bill Soupzon. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, armed with cameras locked and loaded by Dougie Beard. All right, Stefan, last round this series was at the open landscape of Road America. Today, the venue is contrasted by the tight confines of Montreal.
Yeah, exactly, Soup, and Canada's home of F1 has a long history. Designed by Roger Peart and opened in 1987, the first race was won by, who could forget it, Gilles Villeneuve. Slow turns alongside with long straights make this track the perfect mix for exciting, fast and close racing. Speaking of close, those walls are close too. But let's take a step back real quick. 13 turns are located around this 2.7 mile long track, and did I mention already that those walls are located mighty close to the black stuff? The track is set for spectacle today. Close walls, close racing, fast cars, long straights, what can possibly go wrong? But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, as we will now take you on board the lap around Circuit Gilles Villeneuve with our GSRC lap guide.
Alright, Samuel Ryman is behind the wheel of the GSRC FW31, so let's do a lap around Montreal. Turn 1 is going to be a huge bottleneck on lap 1, so look out for drivers with bad spatial awareness collecting one another. This first chicane can be a passing zone, but a very difficult one because of the switchback. As we head to 3 and 4, I think this chicane is equally as dangerous as the Wall of Champions. Greedy drivers will pay the price and end their day on the wall on the right. Flat out through 5, and then stay to the right to set up for 6. It's a very slow left-hander, but 7's going to really open up on the exit. Plus, it leads onto the backstretch, so a stable car will be critical. Otherwise, more confident drivers will breeze by easily. Now we get ready for 8 and 9. There's going to be some giant sausage curbs on both apexes, so give them a wide berth unless you're feeling brave. A slow exit out of here to the hairpin is also dangerous since it allows the car behind a good passing opportunity. In fact, it's the only braking zone that isn't into a chicane. Low speed grip is the key to making sure you get a good launch down this long final stretch. With the draft, it could even pay off to set up your opponent by late apexing the hairpin and then blowing by them on the straight. But now we need to stay left and spot our brake marker for the final chicane. A fast lap requires us to straighten it out as much as we can. Use the curbs, but don't fly off them too hard or the Wall of Champions will claim yet another victim. If you cleared it, you finished a lap around Montreal.
Joe Peak doing what few do better. That is talking and taking the viewers around the track. This time it is the tight confines here of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. All right, let me take you to the point standings. We're going to do something a little bit different this round. When there's a series that has 4 drop races, that's a substantial number of drop events, and drivers and fans can choose to analyze them in a couple ways. By the raw numbers, meaning that we just keep adding up the points until a driver get 8 events, and then we take the best 8 from there. Or you can do it the other way if you're a glass half empty type guy. You can throw out the 4 worst events and start counting the best ones on round number 5. We're going to do both today because they're so drastic. It'll give you an idea of how things really change depending if you're a glass half full or a glass half empty, guys. This is our raw number totals. You see Thomas Seeger sitting at the top, Kevin Jimenez, Xavi Ross, Antonio Poveda. They're the 3 Spaniards, and then Marco Sanfilippo. Now, let's go ahead and look at what the standings look like. If we take out the drivers' 4 worst events, we're going to show you those right now when we show you these, what we're going to call the drop points. Notice that none of the names are the same except for Antonio Poveda. Everybody else, these are new names. That's because they haven't been at every event. Their raw numbers are not as good. You see up there, you got Victor Prado, who's only really been at one event, winning that one, and he scored 232 points for a big strength of field event win there. You see Guerrero in there, Daniel Benefield, and then Mark Usher, who has 2 wins but a bunch of no-shows. So eventually, as we can bring that down now, eventually those 2 graphics will intersect near the end of the season, and they will all come together. But it's really a way to show you who to keep an eye on. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and turn it over to Stefan to talk something a little more straightforward. That is the race details.
Well, it's simple. Today, round 6 of 12. As you have seen, we've already ourselves implemented one of the 4 drop weeks these drivers have available in the batteries, not included championship. Race length today, 46 laps. They have to perform a 1 pit stop for fuel and tires setups. Obviously completely open, because otherwise it might get a bit tricky to drive around here. Incident cap, standard for iRacing 17, and the points they're using for the batteries, not include championship, are the official iRacing points like they have in the iRacing Grand Prix series.
And just to drill down a little bit on that last point that Stefan was making there about iRacing points, it all depends. A win will vary depending on the strength of field. So even though drivers may have 1 win each, they do not have the same points depending on whether they got their win in a weak field or a strong field. The stronger the field, the more the points, obviously. Now, let's go ahead, Stefan, let's take a look at the weather and see how that's going to affect these cars. We're going to talk about this a little later. These cars that actually never raced at this track for some interesting reasons. Go ahead.
The weather today, 106 Fahrenheit on the track. We have a clear weather, so that is why you see 77 Fahrenheit in the air and 106 Fahrenheit on the track. This might be a bit interesting for these cars and tire usage. Wind, not gonna be any problems. It's south to southwest at pretty much steady 4 to 5 miles per hour. And the humidity, 45%, so no fog, rain, or anything expected here today.
All right, we've got all the business out of the way. Now we can turn our attention to the business of qualifying as we look at Thomas Knoll. Sitting at the top of the qualifying times right now, it is Curtis Hardy. There we ride on with Knoll.
New name right there.
Yeah. In fact, a couple new names. We see Hardy, of course, Matt Wood sits in second. Lap times at about 1 minute and 15 seconds with some change. So far, the difference between the fastest drivers and the slowest drivers it's pretty significant. That kind of is a testimony to there only being 1 split here at the series. The race didn't split, so we have anybody who's looking to race is going to be in the broadcast. There's Tyler Green, and is that a red car? I'm going to my rods and cones.
Yes,
green and
very
a red
neat,
car.
that's a red
Okay.
car. And some reports are coming in from the drivers already, talking about how it is to nearly drive on ice here because of how hot the track is with the 105 Fahrenheit. So seems like it's gonna be a real struggle here today for these guys to keep their tires on a reasonable pace.
Yeah, if you're a fan of attrition races, well, you've come to the right place. We'll have a pretty large field, looks like about 23 drivers. We will be lucky if half of those make it to the end. This place is notorious for catching a driver and ending his day early. There is Fernando Jaquez. Don't be fooled by the name, racing out of Texas. In fact, I'm going to go with Jaquez on that one if I know my Spanish pronunciation. Right now he sits 11th fastest, looking to up that. 20 drivers able to put in qualifying times. A lot of big names are not here today. Thomas Ziegler sitting down in 7th, our raw points leader. And I believe qualifying is done. So with that done and with a standing start, let's help us through. I'll take 10. Curtis Hardy, newcomer on the pole. Matt Wood outside of him. Carlos Fenollosa is going to be in the 3rd position. Take a quick look at that one. There's an F after that. We'll have to check on his name a little bit later. Kane Jimenez in 4th position. Jose Serpa is going to be inside of row 3, flanked by Marco Sanfilippo, Thomas Ziegler, and Jordan Westphal. Fill up the next row, Danilo Sanfilippo and Thomas Knoll in row 5. Stefan?
Xavier Ross, the number 5, sits in 11th place. Right alongside him will be David Cudmore. Reed Miller in 13th. Alongside him will be Fernando Jaquez in 14th. Jerry Forkolb 15th. Kleber Botaro Mura in 16th. Ignacio Segovia in 17th. Tyler Segreen will line up alongside him in 18th. Michael Hilliard in 19th. And the last car to qualify is Greg Waters. Michel Ussel 21st, Romain Stark 22nd, and Stuart Musselwhite in 23rd. Did all not set a qualifying lap today.
A lot of new names here that did not split. I gotta think maybe a little bit of that might be that we are racing on what many people would consider a holiday, and that being Easter. Perhaps there's a lot of people not being able to get away from their family, and they are probably watching this over some eggs or a nice ham right now as they have their family together watching GSRC here. Streaming your way via the iRacing Esports Network. You can hear those engines start to harmonize. Look at those 2 strings of cars lined up like a necklace on your wife's night table. Oh, Hardy with a horrible start, and he spins right in front. The pole sitter spins. Who is this guy? Well, we don't really get to know him very well because he spins it right in front of Kevin Jimenez, who picks it up. We'll come back and take a look at that when the action permits. Matt Wood is your leader. Fenollosa behind him.
Right behind. Tom Seeger into the wall. Sorry.
He was already slow for some reason. We're going to come back and play most of the first lap for you. He got in with Jordan Westphal.
Actually, it was with Xavier Ross who he collided.
Oh.
Big netcode between the two.
And Westphal got a piece of them going by. So some big names already involved in some incidents. So let me fit out what we're looking at in the top 5. Matt Wood, Fenollosa, Serpa, Marco Sanfilippo, and Xavier Ross in 5th. And we haven't finished a lap yet. Down to the chicane, 13 and 14. By what they call the Wall of Champions, which has claimed so many victories. Matt Wood gets credit with leading lap number 1.
Thomas Knoll just performed a perfect overtake through the Walls of Champion chicane on Danilo Sanfilippo that was. And Sanfilippo right now under pressure from Reed Miller and Fernando Jaquez. So yeah, lots of action already.
Now we look at Danilo Sanfilippo. He is up a position, racing in 8th. right behind Sanfilippo, then is Fernando Jaquez. There's Jaquez being chased by Reed Miller and David Goodmore. Not missing anything up front. The leaders have all kind of stretched out right now. The action is right back here mid-pack.
Oh, and Reed Miller's right now side by side with Thomas Seeger. Thomas Seeger with a perfect exit out of the hairpin. And Reed Miller losing another position to David Cudmore in the green car there. Or actually, is he outbraking himself? No, he isn't, but Reed Miller trying to come back now.
Remember, Seeger, your raw points leader, qualified in 7th. He's trying to make up some positions after having that first lap incident. We continue to look at this side-by-side battle as we're riding on board with, there it is, Reed Miller.
Yeah, and you can see and hear how these guys are really struggling for grip, really gingerly on the throttles every single time out of every corner here. Just struggling for that grip as the track temperature still sits 106 Fahrenheit.
Green has a great run out of 7. He's got a shot at him into this chicane coming up into 9 and 10. He's going to wait.
Meanwhile, that is going on. Marcus Sanfilippo just gone past by Xavier Ross into the hairpin. Great out-braking maneuver by the Spaniard.
Yeah, Xavier had qualified in 11th position. You got to figure that maybe he had something wrong. He's faster than that his qualifying time would indicate. Kevin Jimenez, as we speak, just put the car in the wall. His day is done. He had that early first lap incident. He's going to get no points for him. We'll take a look at this one, and eventually we'll come back and look at lap number 1. Here he is all by himself. Not sure if the car was healthy after he got into it with our pole sitter, Curtis Hardy. Yeah, there's no wing on there. That's a that's a good indication that there was going to be a problem. We come back live. We're looking at Matt Wood. I'll report that Stuart Musselwhite just got into the wall of champion. He's well back in 18th position. No need to look at that one. Okay, I think things are settling down, so we're going to go away from the live action, and we're going to try to go back to the start. And we can just follow through this. We'll take one look at it. We'll start by maybe a look at Hardy, who was on the pole.
Yeah. Hardy, it seems like he didn't know how to start his car, because he was asking that about 2 times in the chat before, and it seems like he just, off the start, he just completely floors it, puts a 11 onto that of about like 12 or 15 meters, and then just completely spins it out to the right there.
Yeah, and that collected Jimenez. Now if we can go up to Zeiger real quick and find him, because this happens right after that. He gets together with I think it's Ross.
Yeah. Xavier Ross, they have a bit of a net code coming into the right-hander now.
Stay on it a bit. There's that connection. And then there's one more here. So we stay on Zeiger. He'll get together with another driver as he goes by. There's that beautiful painted car. They get together, and I believe it was it was a minor contact, so we can get off of it now as he gets back up to speed. So there you see it. Now we come back live, and where does our raw points leader sit right now? Well, he is in 10th, trying to run down Fernando Jaquez.
Yeah, he is lucky to still be in this race, to be honest, because if we remember back last year, Canadian Grand Prix in real-life Formula 1, we saw quite a pile-up there, so Seeger really lucky to still be in this race and have not sustained any major or ever so slight minor damage.
All right, let's jump into P5 now. This is Jordan Westphal with Thomas Knoll behind him. We've seen Knoll race before. We've seen Westphal race in a few races as well. Good to see them fighting inside the top 5 right now. The guy they got to watch out for is Xavier Ross. He is about 2 seconds behind. He's quick. He qualified in 11th position. He'll be coming up soon on these guys.
Hold on. Xavi Ross overtook Marcus Sanfilippo a few moments ago. We missed something.
Yeah, he's coming.
Wasn't he already up there, or did I?
No, I think he's. We're gonna take. We think we have a look at this one, so let's go back. Well, we're looking side by side here for a minute. Let's hang on. We'll come back and look at that one.
There we go. He had troubles. Okay, so sorry. Xavi Ross had troubles coming out of the second chicane. It's already 2 laps ago, so we're not gonna get there. But
well,
yeah, he nosed it into the wall with about 30-40 miles per hour.
We have something to look at here. Let's see what we see here. As we have, there he is.
There he is.
Director
Wow,
found
look
it.
at that. Yeah, he actually backs it into the track, and there's a bit of a hairy moment that he got there.
So now we come back to Xavi in 7th. That is Danilo Sanfilippo behind him. But as expected, even with all that issue, Stefan, he is closing in on this Westfall Knoll battle. So boys, get him moving, because here comes Ross.
Yeah, but maybe you did spot it yourself, but he has some damage on the left front of his wing, or on the left side of his front wing that we run. So Xavi Ross having sustained some damage, but surely it's...
And no! That is Knoll. He was racing in 5th. He loses it. This was right in front of what we were looking at, so just a self-spin. Everyone gets out of the way. Not even a spin.
Yeah, and once again, that low grip that we have today with the high temperature caught him out there. Too much throttle, and nearly spins it out, but hits the wall.
What would be just a simple trip through the grass on most racetracks here is much more serious as the tight confines. Let's look at this battle for 5th right now. This is Westfall with Xavi Ross, even with a damaged front arm, coming after him. Westfall qualified in 8th, racing up in 5th. A couple of those may be vultured from attrition, drivers in front. Certainly in the case of our pole sitter, who's not there anymore. We'll continue on this one. We've been jumping it around a little bit, so why don't we stay here and watch a little bit of racing. I'll just report that Wood is leading. You can see it right up there on that top line on your screen. Wood is in 1st, Fenollosa in 2nd, and Jose Serpa in 3rd. That's pretty stationary.
Well, Xavi Ross is coming, and he is mighty fast. This is gonna be over in a heartbeat once he gets up close to Jordan Westfall. But you can see down the straight right now, Xavi Ross really feeling that damage, slowing him down, having more drag on his car, so he really can't close in all that much.
Yeah, I think he's really going to have to work. He may have to force it through the technical section. You can see it, that's right there, as he makes the pass. And I'm not sure if that was Westfall just reading the writing on the wall and saying, go ahead, Xavi.
Yeah, that sure looks like nearly a multi-21 if they would be teammates, but Jordan Westfall just staying on the left side, letting Xavi Ross by.
All right, so we saw Xavi in the battle with Danilo Sanfilippo a little while ago. Well, now ahead of him is Marco Sanfilippo, but that's a 7-second interval. That's going to be a tall order for Ross to get up that far. Sanfilippo racing in 4th. So we settled down a little bit. Let's jump back a bit, Director. Can we go back to 12th, since we're not looking at that battle anymore? Let's look at David Cudmore. He's in a little bit of battle. We saw this driver before, Tyler Green, in the red car. As they head down into the hairpin, it's not that far up to Reed Miller. This is drivers just outside the top 10. Reed in 11th.
Yeah, and they're not all too far away from each other. The good thing is about this track, you don't have corners that are fast leading up to a straight, so you really don't feel too much impact on your handling of the car coming into passing zones, so you really can get close and stay close to the car in front and force a pass on the straights.
Just review for you the driver who sets second in the raw points, Kevin Jimenez. Well, he's out. He's going to finish well down the order, outside the top 20. And our pole sitter also is out of the race, so that opens the door for Matt Wood. Westphal has had an issue. We'll take a look at him as his woes continue.
Let's see, where is that third chicane I'm seeing here? And sure enough, once again, underestimating how little grip he has and just spins it out on the throttle, as you're gonna see now. There you go. Barely misses the wall. Lucky break in an unlucky situation for Jordan Westphal.
So Danilo Sanfilippo drives around him. Thomas Knoll gets by as Jordan Westphal falls 2 spots down into 8th. And here comes Thomas Seeger, your overall raw points leader, now trying to get up on Westphal. They work through the technical section. Westphal a little bit slower through here. We'll see what the German driver can do against the Canadian.
Yeah, only 10 laps done. We've already had 3 retirees, 3 official retirees now. So yeah, Trish kinda high right now.
Again, we've been jumping around a lot, so let's stay on this battle a little bit. You can watch a little bit of racing. Westphal doing a good job of staying ahead of Ziegler. Oh, one more time for Xavi Ross. We're going to see if we can find this one.
That is the 4th chicane that he is gonna have the problem. So next chicane, under the tunnel, the braking point, a little bit skewed. So you always come in a weird angle, hits the first curb, hits the second curb, and right on the sausage curb of the second curb, he spins it out, hits the wall hard, and loses his rear wing.
Yeah, and honestly, if we look here at Thomas Seeger, if the walls weren't going to end his race, I think the incident cap was about to, as he had certainly had his share. We ride on board this beautifully painted car here of Thomas Seeger. Both of these drivers closing in on Thomas Knoll in 6th.
Let's see, last lap, about 7/10 in the favor of Jordan Westphal, who had a mistake there and gets passed by Thomas Seeger. What happened there by Jordan? Oh, he was right outside ways there towards the wall. Lucky break for Jordan Westphal. We saw it on the onboard of Thomas Seeger.
So Seeger up into 7th. We're going to look one more time. We're going to onboard with the Canadian driver, and we'll watch his woes.
And look at that steering angle he's going to put on there.
And there you see, that's Seeger going around him. Seeger now up into 7th. Next on his hit list, Thomas Knoll.
Now the battle of the Thomas now. Seeger versus Knoll, the 2 German-speaking drivers. Let's see, last lap, Thomas Knoll with the 18.4 versus the 18.1 of Thomas Seeger, so 3/10 in the favor of the German in behind.
Now, if you look at that top line, you see CF up there. Those are the initials for Carlos Fenollosa. That's who he has a long name, so we had to abbreviate it up there. Look at that gap on Matt Wood. He is beginning to close in on Wood. That interval now 1.5. With a pit stop and still 34 laps of racing to go. Plenty of time for this. Well, he races off the Iberian Peninsula. I'm going to assume that he's another one of those Spanish drivers. He could be from Portugal.
It seems like he's able to close in. Let's see on the lap times. Matt Wood with a 16.9 versus a 16.9 of Carlos. Actually, 600th of a second in favor of Matt Wood. So one mistake and Carlos is right under at the rear wing.
Well, let's stay on it because they're coming up on some lap traffic of Romain Starek.
Yeah, Romain Stark probably, the French driver there. Let's Matt Woodby. Does he see the second car of Carlos? Yes, he does. Stays on the right side, stays off full throttle, and Carlos goes by.
We're right on board with the leader now, up by 1.2 seconds. My understanding of Spanish, I'm going with Carlos Fenollosa with a Y sound there for the double L, racing in second. These guys comfortably ahead of any competition. Serpa back by 3.5 seconds. Things settling down a little bit. Hey, let's go back to this battle with Ziegler and Knoll. We've been watching, and look at it. There you have it, Steph.
Yeah, and there he goes right now in the inside, out breaking Knoll, and past he goes. Well, very well executed, in fact. Thomas Knoll trying to see if he can do something into turn 1, but has to see that Ziegler just too strong on the brakes.
Yeah, I would expect now to watch Ziegler pull away through the technical section, where I think his car is faster. He's really struggling with some straight line speed. So now Knoll's got to watch out about Jordan Westphal coming back on him. Thomas Ziegler, how far does he have to go to get up to another driver? Well, it's about 8 seconds up to Danilo Sanfilippo. And we look at that beautiful paint job as we ride on board with this drone cam following. There we go.
And for your information, Carlos Fenollosa races out of Chilches. That's in Valencia.
Okay, there we go. So I was right on that one, I assume. There's Jordan Westphal out of Canada. Oh, he's got a shot at it. Look at the run he got. He finishes off Knoll. Yeah.
Seems like Knoll really struggling right now with his tires, just not really getting any drive out of the hairpin, and yeah, that's just an easy bait there for Jordan Westphal, overtaking him into the Wall of Champions.
Knoll perhaps racing a little higher in the order, taking advantage of some of the attrition that went on before him. He qualified 10th. He's still 2 spots up from where he gridded, but now he's going to have a hard time staying with Westphal. It's about 5 seconds back to Fernando Waquiz, who's going to be coming. So, go ahead.
So, one thing that is starting to develop is a battle for P3 between Jose Serpa and Marcus Sanfilippo. Sanfilippo closing in about a 10th per lap on the P3, the white car of Jose Serpa.
You're right, and boy, he was really good into 1, and I'm talking about Sanfilippo. Yeah, Marcos is now within, well, under a second. You can see the interval between them. Serpa doing a good job trying to stay with the guys up front. Go ahead.
Reed Miller had a mistake out of the hairpin on a straight line, completely loses the car into the wall. No front wing. Totally nosed it in there. There we can see it now. You're gonna see it quite late out of the hairpin. There he goes now. And just really weird incident from Reed Miller there.
That was David Cudmore, who was racing in 10th position. You'll see Cudmore go by as he vultures that spot. Fortunately for those guys, they are still pit stop coming up, so they can come in and get a little wing damage done. 30 laps to go.
Yeah, I
Look at Serpa now.
I think Reed is able to just barely sneak into the pit stop cycle, so you might be lucky and be good to the end.
Okay, and he's got his damage fixed, and now he is coming out, and hopefully for him, he will not have to make another stop. He might have to nurse it a little bit. All right, let's look in on the couple battles up front. We'll start with the one in third position. This is Jose Serpa and Marco Sanfilippo, who is a coming. That interval, 1 second. We're looking at it right now. Ahead of those guys, Wood and Fenollosa battle for the lead. That about 1.5 seconds. This one's a little closer than we look at right here. Remember, there is a pit stop still to come.
And one thing I have to say here, with how high the track temperature is and how icy these conditions probably feel like because of how hot the track is, in both battles, I would rather be right now the guy who is out front, who can keep his car calm, who can keep his tires rather safe, and not be the guy chasing who really has to push his tires and his car to some extent off his limits. You're always gonna go into a risk of spinning out, making mistakes with how hot this track right now is. So really not easy to have the right aggression, the right mindset in both battles, chasing and being ahead.
Let's go to 13th real quick, as a driver just got out of the way of the leader, pulled over. I'm gonna let you take a shot at that name. That looks like more from your part of the world there. How would you? He's from Pennsylvania. You want to take a shot at car number 17, Stefan?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Vorkolb because he's out of Pennsylvania, but it's a German name, so it would be Vorkolb.
Yeah, sounds so good when you say it, man. Well, let's give him a tip of the hat there, as he did a good job of getting out of the way. I thought it was going to be an issue with Wood and Fenollosa, gets right around him. Noel comes in to make a stop. Leader of all the cars who have pitted is Reed Miller. Miller right now is just going into the hairpin.
And with Noel in the pit stall right now, this makes me quite confident with the call on Reed Miller that he's going to be good to the end.
Noel is in and out, comes out right in front of Stuart Musselwhite. There is Reed Miller, who's not going to be able to do the undercut. So Noel, now the leader of all the cars who have pitted.
Oh, I'm very sorry, but Thomas Noel just spun out of the third chicane right in front of Stuart Musselwhite.
Cold tires, perhaps?
Cold tires on a hot track never gonna work very well because you have low grip tires on a low grip surface. It's just a recipe for disaster. There he comes. And there he goes.
There we go. But I don't believe that we talked about Reed Miller making that early stop. Noel had such an advantage that he's still the leader of all the cars who've pitted.
Oh, Sanfilippo was just very close to Jose Serpa, but Sanfilippo, with a little bit too eager on his throttle, goes a little bit sideways, loses a few meters yet again to Serpa ahead, so no pass attempt being able to be made into the Wall of Champions.
Let's check in on our leader real quick. He's opened up, which was once a 1.5 second lead, about 2.5 seconds now over Fenollosa. He's coming up on a back mark. Well, that's Thomas Noel he's going to be riding up on. Now, Noel's already made his pit stop, so Matt, he's not going to be able to get out of the way for you because of pit stops. If you're going to have to pass him, he's going to have to slow down, or you're going to have to get around him. Noel lifts. Look at that lift. Go ahead, leader.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're racing for. The battle for P1 always is more important than your own. And Thomas Noel realizing that, probably also thinking to himself, it's probably better and faster to try to be behind him and get a little bit off the draft than to try and fight to stay ahead on the lead lap.
Let's jump in on third. Here it comes, Marcos. Oh, we have Westphal with an issue. Another problem for Westphal.
Not the day of Westphal, the Canadian driver. having to retire after his latest mishap. Let's see what happened there. That's the first chicane. Probably gonna loop it out of the second one.
Oh.
Ooh, that's a bit more than a loop
nice.
there.
Now we'll check in on Serpa. This is interesting. Serpa's got some great straight line speed compared to Marco Sanfilippo here. Every time I think Sanfilippo's got a shot of him, they get to a straightaway and Serpa just drives away. We've been jumping around a little bit, so again, let's let you watch a little bit of racing as they negotiate their way through the road course.
Yeah. The thing with this battle is I think Marco Sanfilippo is the faster of the two, but he just makes too many little mistakes to really be up there with Jose and try to challenge him for his third position.
Through the hairpin. Now they come out, you see a little bit of the accordion effect there. He closes up and then it stretches as they get on the throttle. That gap at 1 second. Let's stay on this, it'll get you a good idea where pit entrance is. It's right there, unless you turn for the chicane.
And it's one of the trickier pit entrance if you're following someone and you're gonna pit in but the others aren't, because if that is, you're actually gonna lose quite a bit, like a second and a half, if you get stuck behind someone who is not pitting when you're pitting. And who is that? That's Thomas Knoll with another mistake.
Knoll
there.
with another spin. Boy, Knoll and Westfall, those guys are just having a hard time. Alright, we haven't looked in on these guys for a while. This is Fernando Waquiz and David Cudmore.
Yeah, this is between Tyler Green and David Cudmore. Tyler Green racing with a red car and Cudmore ahead with a green car to make us a little bit more confused than normal.
Right, Waquiz was in this mix. He took a pit stop. He's coming out. I think he should be able to get out of comfortably ahead of Knoll. Yeah, Knoll's not even close. So now Waquiz becomes the leader of all the cars who have pitted in and out in 10th.
Tyler Green just looked to the inside of Cudmore in the last chicane, but wasn't able to do anything. But Cudmore really under pressure now from Tyler Green.
They come up on the French driver. That's a lapped car. That is Roman Stark. He pulls over, lets the two drivers go by. There goes Cudmore. Chasing him down is Green. Now, neither one of these drivers have pitted yet, so this is where you got to be careful. If people are on different agendas as they head down into pit lane, is anyone going to come in? Nope. The driver that does was the French driver who was a lap down.
Romain Stark going into pit lane there, obviously, as already mentioned. A lap car, so no contention for these two. Battling it out through turn 2 to go. Easy on the throttle here. Goes up and is off cambered. Has to be really careful, especially on conditions like this. Then right, left they go. It's a bit downhill. It is actually more than you actually see, so you once again have to be careful here. Once again, off cambered left, off cambered right. Go out all the way to the wall and go on the throttle. And Tyler Green just really strong here through that third chicane.
And we have a new driver in second position as Marco Sanfilippo moves up because a few drivers in front have decided to come in and make their stops. Carlos Fenollosa comes in, as does Jose Serpa.
Tyler Green once again hairpin side by side this time though, with David Cudmore down the backstretch to go. As Serpa in the pit still.
We look at this battle side by side. Cialis bathtubs.
No way, Tyler Green out of fuel!
And Tyler Green out of fuel.
I don't think he's actually gonna make it to the pit stall because he really underslowed there on the pit entrance. Pit speed, the limit here, 64 kilometers an hour. And he's really crawling right now.
Okay. He's not. I don't think he's going to get there. If he does, his race is over. Hey, Serpa has in and out. Our leader is in right now. Serpa's the leader of all the cars who have pitted. He came out in a hornet's nest behind Ignacio Segovia. Michael Hilliard was in the mix. So what we want to do, if we can pick up Wood now, he's in pit lane. What we want to look for is Carlos Fenollosa. He comes in as well. Boy, he's well behind though.
Yeah, the last few laps, Carlos really lost on the battle for first.
Let's pick up Serpa now. As Serpa is coming across the start-finish line, there are the two cars in front. This is getting really messy. That's green. Marco Sanfilippo in there. Thomas Seeger. Seeger has yet to make his pit stop. Fenollosa, who was in second.
Up to second place now with that pit stop, way faster than Carlos Fenollosa.
Yep.
And of course it just really dropped off Marco Sanfilippo right now.
So Sanfilippo, who was racing, if I have my notes right, I think he was in fourth, is now up in second.
Yeah,
as he gets around, Fenollosa and Serpa were both ahead of him before the pit cycle.
And Seeger really helping out Sanfilippo right now, being the car in between himself and Carlos. But Carlos now with the double draft, what will Seeger do? Will he go into pit lane? Will he try to overtake him? It's gonna be interesting here. Let's see Seeger. Yes, he shoots past into pit lane, but braking way too early here. That's where the pit limiter starts. So he lost a second there for sure on that pit entrance.
Yeah. That was a confident pass, as he had to make that pass on the right side, clear him, then get back out to track left so he could get into pit entrance. Seeger doing a good job. So now we come back and we look at the battle for second. Honestly, the driver in third, Carlos Fenollosa, should be faster. He lost the position because of the pit stop.
It's gonna be interesting that Carlos really used up his tires last stint. So if Marco is able to stay close with Fenollosa, then he really will have a shot at second place.
Here he comes.
But here comes Carlos around the inside of the hairpin. Staying side by side, and this might hurt Carlos now on the inside, having to wait on the throttle.
Boy, you can sure see the momentum from the outside line pay off on that one. As Sanfilippo was first to the throttle and had a little bit of an advantage. Look at the car, though. Now in the preferred position will be Carlos Fenollosa, but he's going to back out through that chicane.
No!
Give it another try. Oh! Spinning right in front of him was Reed Miller. And then I thought that Fenollosa was going to make a mistake. Now he's going to make one more attack on Sanfilippo. Down into one. Sanfilippo, they touch. They keep going.
Locking wheels and being able to unlock them again. That requires quite some luck there from Marco Sanfilippo!
They're together. They're both in the wall. That was Sanfilippo getting loose right in front of Fenollosa. Fenollosa had nowhere to go. The two get together as they fight for second.
I'm not even sure we're allowed to show these pictures. That was quite some
Yeah.
car interaction there, car-on-car action. But yeah, unlucky break for both of them.
Well, they had been smoking on the Hindenburg for about half a lap, so it's not surprising that it ended up with an O the humanities there. Fenollosa is still in third place.
Fenollosa.
So, with 18 laps to go, it's too long for him to limp that thing around. He's got to bring it in.
I would be actually surprised if you wouldn't have Meatball for damage, because he is crapping a little bit. But there he goes onto pit limiter. And yeah, Will be interesting to see if he is able to stay out or not, but yeah, he's turning a little bit left to go straight.
All this going on behind Matt Wood, who's 14 seconds up now on Jose Serpa.
And
now,
there we have Tyler Green on the screen. Remember, he was battling actually for P7 at the time of his pit stop. He ran out of fuel and now he's in 12th, fighting for 11th, a full lap down on the leader.
Okay, Carlos Feniosa, he's come in and come out. Now, how about this? The car looks... Oh, my... I thought it was better. He's having a hard time getting a feel for it. It looks pretty. I don't know if it's driving pretty. He's
turning left to go straight.
Yeah.
He's turning left to go straight. He really has to be careful. I'm not sure he should be racing right now because he has to turn quite a little bit left to even turn right.
You can see the hands on the wheel right now. Not really a 10 and 2, more like a would be noon and 6. But he's got 4 seconds up on this battle that we're watching for 7. Let's go to this battle for 6th position. This is a fun one. Fernando Waquiz and David Cudmore, and both of these guys are going to be. Oh, look at the run from Cudmore. See you later. See you later.
It looked interesting.
Yeah. So now Cudmore gets that position, and it won't be long till he comes up on the wounded Feniosa as well.
Yeah, it seems like that Jaquez has quite some damage there because he's really not going anywhere on the straights.
Yeah. It might be a battle between Keys and Feniosa, the guy who has the least damage right now. Let's stay on this one as David Cudmore is going to run down Feniosa pretty soon. Oh, check back in on Miller and Green. This one's fun. It's about 7 car lengths back. This might be a case of which driver makes the mistake first.
Right ahead of him, that's the lap car of Romain Stark, who tries to remain ahead of them. But yeah, no battle at all for them, no contention. Next car for them is going to be, actually that's quite a ways up on the road for them.
Yeah. We look at the Miller and Green battle. They are a lap down. There are only 8 cars on the lead lap, Thomas Knoll being the last one. Checking in on some of the other issues that are going on. We're right on board with Green in the red car.
Is he able to? He's actually, and now he's gaining on him quite a bit, but up until the kick on the straight, he was actually slower than Reed Miller ahead, and Reed Miller into the World Champions.
Yep, there it was. As one of the commentators said, who's going to make the mistake first? And, well, there it was. We'll take a look at this one.
That looked quite a lot like a copy-paste of Michael Schumacher's first ever crash into the barrier here.
Boom. And I'm not sure if that car is going to continue. Let's go to 5th position when we come back live. Didn't take long for David Cudmore to get there. He starts to run down the driver who was in 2nd a while ago, Carlos Feniosa. Close it in on him.
This is lap 32, and so far we have lost with Reed Miller 8 cars in total. So attrition
could be worse.
Could be worse,
yeah.
Yes, but could be also better.
They're also behind this battle here. There's also a nice battle for 7th going on, which I think that Knoll should be able to get easily. Maybe go there first. I think that's going to happen. If I have my prediction, who's going to make the pass first? I don't know. As we look at Waukese and Knoll in a battle for 7th. And then right ahead of them, Fenollosa and Cudmore.
If Knoll gets a good exit here, which he doesn't, he would have been able to challenge Jaques into the next chicane, but just not able to get the drive. Jaques with a very good exit, so he remains ahead, but the backstretch is his big enemy. It might actually also already be this straight. Let's see, Knoll alongside and goes past.
All right, with that one made, let's go ahead and look at the battle for 5th spot. Again, how about Carlos Fenollosa? Boy, he's doing a good job holding off Cudmore. Cudmore coming. He had a shot on him last time. I think he's going to take it this time. No, he's going to wait one more time. One more lap. David, you can't wait too long because now that Thomas Knoll has cleared Fernando Waukese, he's coming.
Yeah, if he waits too long or if they battle too long, Thomas Knoll will be there. Yep. And I think he's faster than David Cudmore at this point.
Out of the 4 drivers we were looking at there, I believe that Knoll's the fastest.
Yeah, and there we really can see it last lap. 18.7 for Knoll, 19.5 for Cudmore. So he really has to be careful because Thomas Knoll is quite a lot faster.
Now Knoll, we're going to look up at the 2 drivers in front as he looks at Cudmore and Fenollosa. Now remember, the lead car up there is Fenollosa, who's racing with that steering wheel that isn't pointing straight. Honestly, doing a really good job. I think what has happened is he's starting to get a feel for his car now. Oh, let's go there. I think this time Cudmore's going to get him. Oh, there it is.
You had to say, right there he goes into the wall.
Let's take a replay of this one when we do. If we can look at it on board with Thomas Knoll as well. Maybe we can look at it twice. Knoll does a great job of getting around. This one almost comes back up in front of him.
Yeah, that was a classic case of Carlos with his damaged steering wheel. He had to turn too sharp to the left, and because of that completely loses his car. That is his race down and the 9th car out of contention of this race.
Well, honestly, I think his aspirations were to bring the car out and just put in some laps, and all of a sudden he found himself in a battle. I'm not sure if he really wanted to race with that car, but the racer inside of him says, I'm going to try to hang on to 5th if I can. Cudmore gets 5th. That opens the door for Knoll now to run down Cudmore if he can. I'm not sure if Knoll is going to be able to get to Cudmore before he is lapped by Matt Wood.
Now we see some damage on the right front wing of Thomas Knoll. I'm not sure if that is actually correct though, because he does not have any damage on my end, but let's see on the straight line speed of him. No, he's lifting for Matt Wood, I think, or is he?
No, Matt's too far back. I think Thomas has visions of getting up into a top 5. I'm not sure if he's going to lift right now as he tries to run down Cudmore.
And Thomas Knoll had a normal top speed, so I think that what you saw on screen was wrong. I think he has no damage because the straight line speed didn't suffer on the backstretch.
Okay, that is Michael Hilliard in the 22 car getting out of the way. Careful there as Matt Wood goes around him. He's got to be careful, Wood, not to get in the back of Knoll. Now, as much as Knoll would like to get out of the way of the leader right now, honestly, Wood has a 20-second lead. If I'm in Knoll's position, well, he's going to lift. That's generous. I would almost make the leader wait a little bit here. I have some issues to deal with. So we'll see what happens when the leader gets on the back of Cudmore. See what David can do with him. And I think that Wood's going to catch him at a really good spot. I'm not sure how much lifting Cudmore's going to have to do. Let's see. Remember, Cudmore races in 5th. Last car on the lead lap. That is Wood, your leader. Wood's going to go underneath him. Cudmore lifts a little bit, but he doesn't want to lose too much time because he's got Knoll back there battling for a position. And there is Thomas. The 3 of them come around. Knoll in that blue car.
This was actually better for Knoll than David Cudmore. Cudmore just a very big lift to let Wood by there. And I don't think that was the smartest idea to do, because now he's completely under pressure of Thomas Noll.
You'd like to get out of the way of the leader, and I can speak from back marker experience because I've been in this situation a lot. But when I look at a leader and I see that he has 20 seconds on the guy in second, sometimes I'm a little less patient, a little less hurry to get out of the way. So this is our best battle on the track. Cudmore in the, I'm going to use rods and cones. Green? Is it green? It looks green.
Yes, that's a green.
All right, I got one right. Let me take the other one here. Noel in a blue car.
Exactly.
All right.
Blue and yellow if you want to be 100% correct, and
Oh!
if you want to be more correct, he is side by side with the green car of David Cudmore.
If you're not good with colors, well, Cudmore's the car chasing right now. Noel out in front. Oh, he's coming back on him. He's going to try to force him down on the inside. He's going to make Noel take a tight line in. Watch for the drive off now from Cudmore.
Whoa!
Oh, there's the mistake. He forced Noel into, I'm going to tell you right now, he forced Noel into a tight entry into that chicane. Probably something that Thomas has not practiced much.
That had nothing to do with the entry. That was all the exit, just completely
Yep.
thunderfooting it out of the chicane, and Pace the Price hits both front and rear into the wall.
So once again, a battle on the track is determined not by which car is faster, but which car is safer.
Yeah, and Thomas Noll has some wheel damage. He's about 4, 5, 6 degrees off on his steering wheel angle.
9 seconds up on Fernando Joaquis, who's going to try to come in and see if he can get that 6th position. Fernando back. A lap down. There's Joaquis. 9 seconds behind with 9 laps to go, but honestly, Noel's car took a real shot.
Usal just...
Oh! What are we looking at there? That was Joaquis? Oh! It was a car that missed the total apex. That was
Ignacio Segovia, that's a lap car
Segovia.
there.
Oh, Segovia actually spun the car going into the hairpin, was well off the racing line, and then foolishly blocked the car back in. Watch this. He's out there, then he brings the car back in and collects Noel.
That was Jaques he collected there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. He catches Joaquis, so...
It's a bit of an interesting incident, because Jaques also is quite far away from the apex there. So...
Yeah. Agreed. I will agree with that. When you want to look to give Segovia a little break, the incident took place well outside the apex.
Oh, and Tyler Green just spun out of the second chicane. The herb got him there. Actually, no, it's just a Thunderfoot problem there yet again on the very little grip conditions. Actually, the track is cooling off a little bit, 103 Fahrenheit right now. But there you can see coming out of the second chicane, it happens. There he goes around, and actually he had to miss the 4th chicane just a few moments ago. Goes over the grass straight on.
Bad news is he spun. The good news is he did not lose a position, and he has 50 seconds on the guy who is chasing him. That would be Jerry Forcombe. A little love to our leader, Matt Wood. 23 seconds ahead of his near rival, Jose Serpa.
And not only that, he also only leaves 3 other cars with him on the lead lap right now. Thomas Ziegler, he is about 1 minute and 5 seconds behind Matt Wood. So only about 15 seconds ahead of Matt Wood on the road.
And we have lost 11 drivers, so that's even less back traffic, back markers for Wood to negotiate. How many racers do we actually have out there right now? I'm counting, is 12 is what we got going on? Can we check in on the driver in 12th out there just swimming? Just keep swimming, 3 laps down, Michael Hilliard. Started 19th. Doing a good job. Last car racing.
Yeah, and I don't think that Ziegler did expect a 4th place to his name right now. Starting in 7th, he had some problems, but he also just kept swimming, and he did swim up all the way to 4th place.
Yep, and this is what this guy does. I talked about it in the opening. He sits at the top of the raw numbers. He does not even have a podium. But what he takes is a 10th place car and gets you a top 5. He takes a 7th place car and gets you in the 4th position. He brings the car home clean. We ride on board here. Another driver I want to talk about. We haven't talked much about him. He is up 14 positions, racing in 7th spot. Michael Ussel, the Canadian driver.
Michel Ussel, I'm gonna guess.
Ussel? Okay, I'll go with that.
Time to think about that one.
Really, honestly, shame on us for not really noting his climb through. This is a very good run. Want to make sure he's made pit stops and everything. He has. This is legitimate 7th position. Good on him.
Yeah, but you know, as you always say, he isn't the real climber of this race, because no qualifying to Michel's name.
Okay, there you go. Well, he's very racing incognito, very quiet. He's got himself just a vanilla white paint scheme, not trying to draw a lot of attention to himself, nothing flashy. Didn't put in a qualifying time. We're getting a lot of comments that this hard charger really doesn't count. It's more of... it does count. Oh, it does count, yeah. Kind of the sole survivor almost out there. Good on him. Nice job.
I'm gonna tell you something. Thomas Knoll, he hasn't given up on a top 5 position yet, as he's starting to close in on David Cutmore yet again.
That shouldn't happen. All right, he's coming.
6/10, the last lap around. This time it's a 17.8 for Knoll versus a 18.3 for Cutmore. So yet again, 5/10 cut out of the lead of Cutmore for that 5th place position. So if he hurries up, he's gonna be there on the last lap, and he has a few chances to make that overtake happen.
I'll tell you right now, Thomas Knoll has been the star of this race. He's been fun to watch, going up and down the order.
Yeah, he's played a little bit of a yo-yo there with our standing so far.
Oh, you know what? Our leader just had a spin. We might be able to find this one. You're never safe. We'll see if we can find it. This is... You're never home in one of these races. We'll take a look at this. It's going to be out of this next chicane coming up.
Yeah, you know, that was one of those moments like, oh my god, I spun! And then, oh my god, yeah, I have 25 seconds. Oh my god.
I think it's right here. Let's see if we catch it. There it is.
But yeah, Matt Wood, with a little bit of a scare, then he realized, oh yeah, I have way more than enough time to get this car safely around, and continues on. He's right now leading by 16 seconds. He lost himself 10, but he's still got more than enough.
They can afford to do that one more time then. Go ahead and try one more time. You're still going to be okay. All right, let's go back in and look at Cudmore and Knoll. They come up on the back of Romain Starks. Gotta give credit to this French driver. He's had some battles come up behind him. He does a good job of getting out of the way. Racing in 11th, and he does it one more time.
And really showing how well-dressed the French are.
A lift down the straight, and then he gets back on the throttle for the chicane. He lets him by before it matters. But boy, this is really closing in. Here comes Mr. Excitement, Thomas Knoll. Oh, here we go. Who's going to get the momentum? Looks like the outside's going to be able to hang on to it this time. Now they head down to the chicane.
This is going to get exciting really fast. There he comes side by side. This is now a drag race. Down under the Dodge Bridge they go. 400, 300, 200. There he breaks Thomas Knoll on the inside and he makes it happen.
Nice call, Stefan, as the pass is made. Thomas Knoll continues to impress. Now he's up into 5th. Can he stay in 5th is the question. Cutmore's right back on him right now. 2 to go. Wood, Serpa, Sanfilippo, and Seeger, your top 4. This is the battle for 5th. These guys are the first cars 1 lap down. And look at David Cutmore not giving up. We ride on board with the driver in 6th, looking up at Thomas Knoll. Oh my, almost gets into the gearbox of Knoll, but he's able to roll it up in time. It's going to cost him a lot of time on the exit of the corner. That should allow Knoll to drive away now, as he'll be getting the white flag this time around. Coming across the line, getting the white flag is Matt Wood. He's got just 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go before he picks up the first win of the season for him and another different winner. It would be our 5th different winner in 6 races.
I'm just quickly gonna cue this up. Tyler Green, he's starting to close really in on Jacques, sorry. And remember, Jacques really had a bad car top speed wise, so this might cost him yet again 1 more position for 8th place.
In fact, I think we're gonna watch this one right now. We still have time as Wood is still a ways away. He's only just working on the backstretch right now.
Look at that difference. And past Tyler Green goes for P8, that one is, and Jacques has just no ability to do anything about that.
When we look here at Knoll, Cudmore right behind him now. I think we're going to be able to follow this battle after our leader comes across the line, as they'll still have a little bit of racing to do. Our leader right now, Matt Wood, heading down into the Wall of Champions. He's got the right-hander, the left-hander, nothing between him and the checkered flag. Let's give round number 6 of the Batteries Not Included Season 2019 Spring Season Championship to Matt Wood. Jose Serpa will get second. Go ahead.
Now, Thomas Knoll goes ahead of, comes over the line ahead of David Cudmore. Cudmore just not enough in his car to keep up with Thomas Knoll.
Danilo Sanfilippo in 3rd. There are only 4 cars on the lead lap. Sanfilippo was as high as 2nd. He'll come home in 3rd, and the last car on the lead lap doing what he does, Thomas Seeger. As he works his way out of the hairpin, where here comes going through the chicane is Sanfilippo. Now we look at the German driver picking up. There's Sanfilippo, and now we look at Seeger picking up a 4th place finish. Again, that should be enough to keep him at the top of the raw points lead. Tune back in next week and we'll tell you how those standings have changed. Right now the racing is over. We'll take a short break, but don't go far. We'll come back to run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. Back in a few. welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Batteries Not Included 2019 Spring Season Championship, round number 6 here from Montreal. And the results are in. You know, we're streaming cyberspace into your place via the iRacing Esports Network, the best in the iRacing World Championships, as well as many top private leagues like the one you just watched, are showcased right here on iRacing Esports Network. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe. I'll tell you this, GSRC is proud to be part of the IESN stable of broadcasters. Let's give you the entire stable of finishers here in round number 6. Matt Wood goes, well, was it wire to wire? I'm not really sure. He might have lied. I think it probably was wire to wire when I come to think of it. Well, he started in second position, so I guess he couldn't, but he led the first lap. Let's get to it, Soup. He gets the win. Jose Serpa gets second position, picking up 3 spots. Danilo Sanfilippo comes home in the final podium position. Thomas Seeger does what he does. Takes a 7th place car, gets you a 4th place finish. Thomas Knoll was the star of the show. Leader of all the cars, 1 lap down, up 5 spots to get a top 5 position. Ahead of David Cudmore. A very quiet drive from Michel Usol, the Canadian driver, in 7th. Nice job for him. Tyler Green gets 8th. 9th and 10th goes to Fernando Waquiz and Jerry Faucon.
Romain Stark in 11th position, 3 laps down, is the second last car to already finish this race. A last car to finish the race, Michael Hilliard in 12th position. He himself 3 laps down. Now, the list of cars that didn't finish is quite long, starting with Ignacio Segovia, Carlos Vinolosa, Reed Miller, Marcus Sanfilippo. That's a big name right there, being out of the race with quite a heavy impact alongside Xavi Ross. Stuart Musselwhite in 17th, Jordan Westphal 18th, Xavi Ross, as already mentioned. Also, he was out of this race, racing quite a lot for the lead and then crashing out alongside Marcus Sanfilippo down in 19th. Kleber Botaro Mura, one of the first cars we lost, down in 20th. Kevin Jimenez, 43 laps down in 21st, Curtis Hardy in 22nd, and Greg Waters down in 23rd. Last car to take the green flag, and first car to wreck out.
So with that done, let's go ahead and talk to a driver who I'm going to put a glass half full spin on this one. Reed Miller, he qualified in 13th position. He finished 17 laps behind the leader, but he only finished 2 spots behind where he qualified. So if you really want to look at it, if you're going to finish 17 laps behind, really wasn't that bad of a day. Reed, that was rough out there, huh?
Yep, yeah, definitely. I like to be optimistic, but I can't really say this was a good race for me. It was pretty rough out there for sure. It was really hot, really hot. I can't even explain. It just the track got hotter and hotter as it kept going on, and yeah, it was really tough conditions.
How many times did you spin it before you had to finally call it a day?
Just the once in the wall. Once? No, twice in the wall. Twice in the wall, and then I didn't feel like I could keep going after that.
So it was the temperature. Do you think? It's always tough here at Montreal, but the track temperature didn't help, huh?
Yeah, there's just so much braking zones, and they're all so short. So if you make a little mistake, your tires get hot, and it all kind of adds up, and there's nowhere to hide from your mistakes here.
All right, well, let's put this one behind us. Let's look ahead. We go to Le Mans next time. That's something a little different.
Oh, that's not my finest track. It's a little bit interesting in these cars. They're not really designed for that kind of track, so it's it'll be should be maybe a pack race if we can get it going. That'd be maybe fun.
Well, we'll be sure to tune in and keep an eye on you. Good luck next time out. Congratulations on at least coming in and talking with us. Let's say that.
Yes, this is a good interview. Thanks, guys.
All right. Reed Miller, an interview for us today, and I think that's going to be our final one. So with that said, we can close up shop here. Let's thank everybody on the Williams iRacing community, especially Clayton McLeod, for organizing the series and contracting with GSRC to broadcast. We know you have a lot of choices when you fly. Thanks for flying, GSRC. On screen now are just some of the companies that provide the software and hardware GSRC uses to stream cyberspace into your place. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen to how to get hold of more of her great work. The Batteries Not Included will return in 1 week. We just talked about it for Round 7 from Le Mans. GSRC via the iRacing Esports Network will be there. We hope that you come and join us. Next up for ISN will be GSRC's coverage of the Absolute Beginner League. Hey, that's me. Adam Young is going to join as we call the action for you. Round 6 from Watkins Glen. That's going live at 1:45 Eastern. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, GlobalSimRacingChannel.com, Twitter, GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, Instagram at GSRC_Graham. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar so you don't miss another second of exciting simulated racing action. Also, if you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by heading over to our YouTube page and hitting that big red button. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, and that would be Steph and Sean and Doug, we'd like to thank all of you for watching as once again we see another first-time winner this season as Matt Wood wins round number 6. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle, so until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.